welcome to Truth is Freedom. I'm Dennis Cummins, the pastor of Experience Church. So glad that you're here. This is part 2 with our special guest, John Cameron. Yes, a J6er that was arrested, the first one to serve 30 days in prison for picketing at the Capitol. Well, John?
So if we can continue.
Yes.
We were in the part of the story that all J6ers have these same parts. What got them there?
Mm-hmm.
The ellipse.
Yep.
The path to where that path led, dropped them off.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Everybody's different. They go home. Then the double standard and hypocrisy of justice that raises its head, and the actual feds that show up at their door.
Yeah.
Right? The FBI. So the FBI came in force to my house December 6th. 8 squad cars. I didn't have a SWAT team. Some people have had,
heavy vehicles,
LED dots on the kids.
Yeah.
Right. That's happened. My guys were mostly nice, respectful. But the funny story is they came 6 o'clock in the morning, December 16th, 2021. And we were hot. The whole family was hot with COVID. I had a fever of like 103.7. And by then I'd already retained counsel because I knew eventually, hopefully I didn't have to use it. So they pulled me out. I'm freezing in a fever sweat, and it's 20 degrees out. And I'm like, hey, I plead the fifth. Here's my attorney, Angus Lee, Vancouver, Washington. I can give you his number. And we all have COVID. So it turns out if you have COVID and lawyer up, the feds will leave your front porch. So
wow. So they came to arrest you and then left you to surrender yourself at a more convenient time.
They grabbed, they were there for evidence, my phone, my Count All Legal Votes t-shirt. That was my free gift when I donated to Trump. Fishing vest, and the American flag I wore as a cape, which I apologized for those veterans that, put some people that said wearing a cape is derogatory and is putting down the,
Thank you.
I had one of my friends loaned it to me, and he's a military veteran, and so
these are things that they already knew you had. They've already talked to you about it, but then they show up in force to serve a warrant to take all these things. And
well, they hadn't talked to me about it. They had the first door knock that was February 23rd or sometime in February. They were just, we want to have a chat.
Yeah.
So my attorney, and I found one then, said, you don't say anything. You don't respond to their emails. You don't call them back. You don't do anything. That they will only tend to follow the lowest hanging fruit. And that's the person that's on the top of the list.
Yeah.
Right. So when they came back, by then, they had done enough. I ended up at the top of the list. And so then it was my time. So I self-surrendered myself on January 5th of 2022. Day before January 6th, there I was. I was shackled, put in leg irons, a chain around my waist, sent into a holding cell at the Marshals jail cell at the Tacoma, 1717 Center Street.
What's going through your mind? You're getting shackled up. Law-abiding citizen. You were at a parade, so to speak.
Yeah.
You walked into a room, said some words, no cops telling you to leave, and now you're being shackled.
Leg irons and chain belt, and that's a good question. So then I sat in that cell alone, right, from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. I will say the FBI were nice enough to bring me a sandwich, and it was delicious. It's amazing how good a ham and cheese sandwich tastes.
Yeah.
When you're like that.
Yeah.
But I guess so there's a number of things that all J6ers have in terms of mental anguish of what we're going through, right? Through that process, from when it happened to when I was in that jail cell, I had changed. I knew what was coming. It was not a surprise, right? I figured it was going to happen. It's only a matter of time. My case is closed. And all J6ers are still walking around, semi-free men and women, going, what's going to be the next shoe to drop? Okay. We don't think it's over. And so there's, I couldn't tell you exactly what I contemplated, but there's just a lot of, family and personal struggle as people become more active in conservatism and truth, and they begin to have the courage to speak it.
Did you have people turn their back on you?
Oh, yeah. I have two dads. That's a long story. I have two dads, and they both won't talk to me.
Wow.
Or their grandchildren.
Yeah.
And think I'm an insurrectionist, bigot, white supremacist, racist, and have called me that.
Wow. You're white? Oh, sorry.
And by the way, these are two smart,
Yeah.
loving, kind, educated men, right? Who I still love, and I still will work towards breaking the ice.
Yeah.
Called them on Father's Day.
So you're in that room. Then what happens?
Get arraigned and got released on bail.
Okay.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I'll say that at least 6 or 7 times, right? In that there are J6ers who did not enter the Capitol. One just was sentenced to 8 months in prison.
Holy cow.
Didn't even go in.
Wow.
Because he fought all his 4 charges, which then, once he got to a bench trial, was found guilty on 3 of them.
Wow.
Which gave him 8 months.
Because he didn't plead out.
He didn't plead.
Wow.
Because with a plea, you can't appeal. There are a number of different legal ramifications that happen.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, down there as that proceeds. But
so you went. Where did they incarcerate you? What prison?
So I was sentenced. So the trial happens. We went through the process.
Okay.
My lawyer explained to me with the illegal picketing charge within the geographical areas, this is black on white law, right? Okay. I committed this crime. Okay. Now, whether they charge you and how much they charge you is up to them, right? Most people, everybody gets dismissed. The Communist Socialist Democrats that had similar trespassing charges during the Kavanaugh trials, the Trump inauguration, when they get the illegal picketing charge, everyone else except J6ers received $50 tickets.
Wow.
Right?
$50 tickets.
$50 tickets.
You got 30 days in prison.
30 days in prison. So as I went through the process of going to trial, making the decision to go, okay, I can fight this and face all the charges at jury or, right? And my attorney is like, you'll lose. Mm-hmm. We know D.C. is highly partisan, filled, 95% Democrats. It happened in their backyard. And
you went to D.C. for trial?
No.
Okay.
That's another reason I happened early. I was able to do everything on Zoom, which saved me thousands of dollars.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So that was a decision-making process. Plead now. Yep. Don't have to take me, my attorney, fly both of us, put us both up.
Yep.
Right. So we went through. I agreed to that. Right. Mm-hmm. We had verbal stipulations of probation only. When the prosecution's sentencing recommendation came in, they recommended 30 days. They reneged on our verbal. My Judge Hogan, hadn't sent somebody, had fined a few people with the illegal picketing charge, hadn't sent any of those to prison. I was the first one he sent to prison. And part of the reason was I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. Still do. I was active on social media. I was fundraising because I was spending tens of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees. Mm-hmm. So I was posting and getting support and money to pay my legal fees, which I'm still paying on. But and so during his sentencing, he said that, and almost every single J6er has heard these same words. Those that spoke out after or during their trial. Mm-hmm. That you didn't show a suitable amount of remorse.
Yeah, contrition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because of that, and we know you didn't do these bad things, but because you're also part of the mob that did, that's 2 things. We are being tried for
mobbery.
Mob mentality and the psychology of mob is much different. That's why inciting a riot is a crime. Mm-hmm. So I was sentenced as much on my expression of free speech, right?
Yep.
And I shared that as the actual act that I committed, which I owned up to. And during the sentencing, I told my judge, and I said, I didn't see one police officer who told me not to go in. No one said that I couldn't go in. I saw no signs. There was no, they said that there was a continuous loop saying this is a restricted area, everybody leave. That didn't happen. You see my video, there was nothing, right? And one of the things I'm most proud of, and every J6er has even if they plea, they get to express their feelings during sentencing. So they have their sentencing memorandum or a statement of regret. Mm-hmm. And so I'm most proud of, I recited the Pledge of Allegiance during my sentencing statement. And I asked the judge, to give you an idea how I felt, what I was thinking. And I recited the Pledge of Allegiance. So a lot of the hit piece articles that were written about me, of which there are many, the reporters that were covering my sentencing, like I said, I'm most proud of. That's my statement for posterity. It will always be in there. Yeah. And these reporters are saying, "Oh my God, John Cameron is reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I've never seen any J6, or as a matter of fact, anybody in any court recite the Pledge of Allegiance during sentencing." Mm-hmm. And so the judge sentenced me to 30 days, and he gave me, it was an intermittent sentence is what he gave me. So he was trying to be lenient. Okay. And say, you go to prison for 3 days, you get out to go do your business.
Got it.
The feds don't do that. So in the end, my sentence was actually commuted, and I spent 30 days in a halfway house.
Got it.
Which wasn't terrible. I was able to work release and also see family. Okay. I'm one of the lucky ones. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I still will say is the longest 30 days of my life. Yeah. And as I push through and heal, and I believe sharing my story with others helps me heal. That expression. Right. If somebody can get something out of it or and me to just share as opposed to keep things bottled up or whatever it is. Yeah. Right. So, there's significant ramifications in my family life. I'll be brutally honest. That has affected my wife and my marriage. Mm-hmm. My wife is fully supportive through the trial, through all of the beginning process. But as the years have rolled on, and the incessant clamor of social media, detrimental posts. I have people with, threaten to, who want me dead and will say so. Yeah. She lost a couple best friends because of me. They want nothing to do with me. So her two best friends said, we don't want to be associated with John. So she and I and many J6ers have lost their husbands or wives, brothers or sisters or children, grandparents over this. So I'm still fighting, Dennis. Well, fighting for my marriage.
I'm proud of you for that. I think the end goal is to dissuade anybody from coming against the fascist left.
Sure.
From speaking out, taking our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, our expression to worship our God, our Creator, the new state religion, federal religion, LGBTQ plus alphabet cult. That's what it is. And I see so many professing Christians with their hands in their pockets and their head in the sand. And nobody understands that freedom costs something. So let me just ask a couple of questions, and just give me short answers on this. Do you love this country?
I've already shared that I do. So with all my heart, and although I've never served in the military, am willing to die for what I believe in.
What's your feelings towards law enforcement?
I love law enforcement. I believe law enforcement is necessary for true civil liberty. I believe the most basic civil rights violation is crime. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, what has happened is the law enforcement's been handcuffed by legislative improprieties, such as pursuit bills. Now cops are looking over their shoulder. They're afraid that they're going to be the ones that go to prison if they are overly aggressive. And, and then we have... And let's make sure we separate law enforcement between federal law enforcement and local.
Right.
So, and those are two completely different entities, mindsets.
I'm a huge proponent of the sheriff and law enforcement of the sheriff's departments, because the sheriff is the highest authority in every county and above the federal government. And that's what people need to realize. And too many times they want appointed police chiefs and not elected law enforcement sheriffs.
Right.
And if you get elected police chiefs, you're going to end up with federalized police in the end.
Correct.
And that's what we're seeing in Seattle. That's why Seattle went upside down. And I think that the stupidity of the liberals up there, I think they're finally starting to feel the pinch of the damage that it's doing to the economy up there, to the real estate, to all of it.
Yeah. Well, there's certainly economic travesty that's happening. I'm a real estate broker. People are coming to Kitsap County and taking the ferry and coming over. And we were seeing that, especially conservative, well-to-do people who, don't want anything if they have to work, they're spending as little time as possible.
Yep.
I believe that the Democrat Party, I believe communism is here under the familiar name of the Democrat Party. Okay. I believe it's being, that they're using Marxism, and that's to differentiate and divide people by, you fill in the blank by what they want to do. Karl Marx used the proletariat and the bourgeoisie to separate people financially. Here we're doing it by race, by sex, by transgender, and that Marxist bent with socialism leads to communism.
Yep.
And that one of the other, I talked about distrusting family and friends, right?
Yep.
The other biggest one is letting crime and chaos run free and terrorize law-abiding citizens. And prosecuting law-abiding citizens when they fight back, right? Yep. And we know that's happening. Yep. So as all of these things combine with the financial implosion that looks like it will be coming sometime with unregulated debt, fiscal irresponsibility, CBDCs,
all of it.
There's a perfect storm being brewed on purpose. And one of the things I've learned, and I'm not a naysayer, and I believe that there's hope, and I believe that you and I and people watching can, if everybody does the small things necessary to take action to affect change, local politics, school board, city council, those are things that we can control.
Absolutely.
Right now. Yep. And with those small actions, we can slow down.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we know the play is bigger because obviously if they can create enough chaos, they can say, see, you can't manage yourself. We're going to federalize the police.
Exactly what they're doing.
Now we got everything. Yeah. And so, John, at one point in October of before the election, you were dormant, if I could put it in those terms. And then suddenly there was a big transformation in about 3-4 months. Right. What would you say to other people that they're not voting? Like Pierce County, we only had like 26% turnout of votes. Only 26% of the county voted with the lawlessness that's going on, the drug. And you know what? When more that we talk to people, more people are like, I had no idea. They're just so ambivalent and unplugged. What do you say to them? Obviously not in a condescending way, but in a way what do you say to them to say, wake up in a gentle way?
Sharing our truth, Dennis.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first step. Me going from being the silent majority and I'm going to vote for Trump, let my vote speak for itself. It's not enough.
Silence doesn't work. That's what got us into trouble.
It's not enough. What we're dealing with is complacency based on us being really really lucky and well taken care of, since World War II.
Yep.
Right. And the what I really want to share is my lesson personally as a J6er, with all the need for me to take action and show up at J6, right? To follow that path, which from October to January is just 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. I was so new and so naive and didn't have another outlet for what I knew I needed to do. And that was the one that was presented before me in the path that I chose. Mm-hmm. Had somebody said, hey, why don't you come with me and let's door knock on some candidates' doors, or do something, pass out flyers, record a podcast. That might have been enough. It would have been enough, right? For me to still my heart and soul, right? And allow me to sleep the sleep of truth, which we know about, right? So I always say that you can change the nation by changing your backyard, right? And so I request any viewer, and everybody is in unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to change till the pain of remaining the same is greater than that of change. And it may have to have a firsthand experience, right? Of the most nasty, deadly, hitting the head with the tire tool nature, right? For somebody to go, well, what is this, right? And I will say that right now, I will guarantee you, there's some mother whose child was just diagnosed with myocarditis, right? From the mRNA vaccine. Yep. She has been just living her life, doing her own thing, and now this momentous thing happened, right? And she began to do what anyone would, go to social media and go, hey, my son, and she's being censored. Yeah. Because many are, millions. Yep. And those people are all in various stages of getting to what has taken me from October of 2020, so approaching 3 years now. And then, so the opportunity then of engagement of what they need to do, we need to make sure that we're offering that to them. So I would tell everybody, and for me, what I've done, and I have joined the Republican Party, because remember, it's not it wasn't Trump I voted for. I voted against the party that approved of, profited by, and condoned censorship. That was the most, and I'm still there. Right? Because that's my freedom of speech. That's the Constitution. I will fight for that. Yep. So I joined the local Republican Party, and I'll encourage everybody to find that organization or church, the Republican Party, Moms for Liberty. There are many different outlets, and go offer yourself to help. And if you don't need money, just give them your time. If you have time and money, give them both, right? Because we all need that to operate. And so I have joined, I'm the vice chair of the Kitsap County Republican Party. Wasn't anything I really sought. It was, again, a precinct committee officer was put in front of me. That's somebody who's in charge of their neighborhood. And I was like, sure, I will do that. And I followed that path. And now we are, trying to get school board people elected. Working on all the facets of making an organization, which is the party, run smoothly, properly, customer service, engagement. But we're also bringing forward a grassroots movement of people who want to volunteer their time because they're fed up and want to do something, to wave signs, to write letters, to send emails, to make phone calls, return emails. My Republican Party, 2 years ago, if you called them or emailed them, chances were you wouldn't get a call back or an email back. Sad. But they need help.
They need help.
Returning calls and returning emails. That's what they needed help with, even before I could door knock for a candidate. Right? So we are putting forth a system and procedures that hopefully will really affect change by making a party a force multiplier and saying, hey, come to us, we have things you can do. The biggest one right now, the Referendum 101, right, which is the repeal the legal kidnapping bill. That's the HB 5599. Allows the state to take your child if they want to get a sex change. And I say that, I don't say gender affirming care. if they want to get a sex change at 13 or less, or an abortion, and you say no, the state can take them from you and not even tell you that they have.
Yeah, it's classified as child abuse now. That if you're not affirming their pronouns, it's child abuse, according to Washington state law. And so this stuff has to stop. And one thing we're doing here is I've committed to do a ballot protection program. We're going to have a ballot drop box.
Yep.
Plus, we're going to also help people fill out their ballots. We're not going to fill their ballots out for them, but they have questions about candidates. And so we're going to be well educated to say, hey, this is conservative values. This person is not a lunatic and delusional and believes that you can change genders. This person has their feet on the ground.
Yes.
That's where we're at anymore.
Yeah. And that's the best thing right now a church can do, is within their sharing of education and scripture.
Fully legal.
It's legal in Washington state, and there are no rules or laws in Washington state regarding it. So, and the Communist Socialist Democrats, who have more time and are expert at ballot harvesting.
They're so good at it.
And we call it ballot protection services too, ballot collection, right? Yep. So hopefully, and we can make a change. But I will say this. I think that what we're doing right now, we're at the very beginning of something. Okay. The left have had a much longer time to plan, systemize, fund what they're doing, and they are way ahead of the game. I believe, and again, I don't like being a naysayer, I believe that it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? But I believe that there needs to be people who will stand up and be a shining beacon of hope, right? For when those things get really bad.
That's right.
And that will draw those people when they're ready.
Yep.
So, and that's all we can do. Try our best, have a plan. No God has an outcome for us, right? No, we will be his instruments. Faith without works is dead, so it does no good for us. And I can't not do anything, all right?
And that's the key, John. You've had quite a journey, and I believe that you're just getting started. And I so appreciate you sharing and opening your heart and peeling back the curtain and helping people understand some of the validities of what happened, because there's so many skewed, warped reports concerning J6 and all of that, and exposing the hypocrisy of the left, that there's two sets of rules, and this has to get out. People have to wake up and understand that we have to change this while we still have time. So, John, thank you for being on.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you for being a part.
Appreciate this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love you, man.
Well, guys, that's Truth is Freedom. Don't remember, pray as though everything depends on God, and work as though everything depends on us. And that's what it's about. Please get this out, share it, like, subscribe, give me a rating review on Spotify as well. It so helps us. And we're praying for you. Thank you.
Can I get a plug in before we end?
Please. Go ahead.
That is, I am still paying for my legal fees, and I have a Give, Send, Go legal defense fund set up at daddefendingdemocracy.com. Any little bit helps.
daddefendingdemocracy.com. We'll put that at the bottom of the screen. So thank you. Truth is Freedom. We're out.